Imagine a civilization so utterly lost to time, so completely erased from history that its very existence was deemed a myth, a fantastical tale whispered in the oldest legends. Until now. Because deep within the genetic code of our ancestors, a secret has been hiding. A truth so profound it's poised to rewrite everything we thought we knew about the Americas. What if an empire, more advanced than any we've dared to imagine, thrived and vanished without a trace, leaving behind only echoes in our very DNA? Get ready, because the truth is far stranger and far more chilling than you could ever conceive. Our story begins not in dusty archaeological digs, but in the sterile, high-tech labs of Dr. Sebastian Thorne, a name whispered with a mixture of awe and skepticism in the hallowed halls of genetic research. Sebastian wasn't your typical academic. He chased anomalies, the statistical outliers that others dismissed as contamination or error. His current obsession? Ancient human migration patterns across the Americas, a field ripe with unanswered questions. For years, conventional wisdom held that the first significant complex societies emerged relatively late, after waves of migration from Asia. But Sebastian's gut, and more importantly, his data, told a different story. He was poring over a particularly fascinating set of samples, genetic material extracted from ancient bone fragments found in a remote, almost inaccessible cave system deep in the Amazon basin. These fragments, initially dismissed as belonging to an early, nomadic hunter-gatherer group, had always bothered him. Something in their mitochondrial DNA, a tiny, resilient piece of our genetic blueprint passed down through mothers, showed a signature unlike anything ever cataloged. It wasn't just different, it was alien in a genetic sense. It didn't fit the established haplogroups of any known indigenous population in the Americas, nor did it align with any Eurasian or African lineages. It was a genetic ghost, a phantom echo from a past that simply shouldn't exist. Sebastian worked tirelessly, cross-referencing, resequencing, running every possible statistical analysis. He even brought in Dr. Amelia Vance, a renowned archaeogeneticist known for her meticulous work and unwavering skepticism. Amelia, initially amused by Sebastian's fantasy civilization theories, agreed to lend her expertise. She expected to debunk his findings, to point out the inevitable error in his methodology. But as the data accumulated, as the undeniable patterns emerged, Amelia's skepticism began to crack, replaced by a growing sense of awe and unease. The genetic markers, once dismissed as anomalies, began to paint a cohesive picture. This wasn't just a single rogue sample. They found traces, faint but undeniable, in other, seemingly unrelated ancient remains, some thousands of miles apart. It was like finding the same unique fingerprint on artifacts from completely different eras and locations, suggesting a widespread, yet utterly forgotten presence. The implications were staggering. A distinct, highly organized population that had not only existed, but had thrived across vast swaths of the Americas thousands of years before the Olmecs, before the Mayans, even before the foundational cultures we currently recognize. This wasn't just a lost tribe. This was a lost civilization. The genetic data hinted at a population with surprising genetic diversity, suggesting extensive trade routes or a vast, interconnected network. More astonishingly, certain genetic sequences indicated a surprising resilience to specific environmental stressors, hinting at a long period of adaptation and perhaps even manipulation of their environment. Could this mean advanced agricultural practices beyond simple subsistence farming? Could they have understood and managed their ecosystems in ways we are only now beginning to grasp? The more they delved, the more questions arose. Why had such a civilization vanished so completely? Why were there no monumental ruins, no readily identifiable artifacts? The genetic trail abruptly ended, a sudden, sharp drop-off in the archaeological record, as if an entire people had simply disappeared. It was a chilling thought, a civilization wiped clean from the slate of history, leaving behind only these ghostly genetic whispers. Sebastian and Amelia, now completely engrossed, shifted their focus from pure genetic mapping to hunting for any physical corroboration. They revisited old archaeological reports, looking for anomalies that might have been overlooked, dismissed as natural formations or misinterpreted. Amelia, with her vast knowledge of ancient iconography, began to notice subtle, recurring motifs in unrelated prehistoric art from across the continent, patterns that, when viewed through the lens of their new genetic understanding, suddenly seemed to coalesce into a shared symbolic language. It was like finding fragments of a forgotten alphabet scattered through a library where no one knew what the letters meant. Their breakthrough came when Sebastian, using advanced topographical imaging from satellite data, noticed unusual geometric patterns beneath the dense canopy of the Amazon, in the very region where the initial bone fragments were found. These weren't natural formations. They were too precise, too regular. It was the faint, overgrown skeleton of an ancient city, swallowed whole by the jungle, hidden for millennia. Organizing an expedition was a logistical nightmare, fraught with dangers and skepticism from the scientific community. But Sebastian and Amelia were driven by an unshakable conviction. With a small, dedicated team, they ventured into the heart of the Green Inferno. What they found there defied belief. Not towering pyramids, but sophisticated, intricately interconnected complexes of raised platforms, intricate water management systems, and paved pathways, all built with an architectural precision that spoke of engineering brilliance. This wasn't a primitive society. This was a people who had mastered their environment, shaping the very landscape to their will. But the most chilling discovery lay beneath a colossal, moss-covered stone structure. It was a burial chamber, remarkably preserved. Inside, they found not just skeletal remains, but also artifacts unlike anything known. Intricate tools made of an obsidian-like material, finely woven textiles preserved by the unique microclimate, and most significantly, a series of carved stone tablets. These tablets depicted not gods or kings, but complex astronomical charts, agricultural cycles, and what appeared to be a detailed calendar system far more sophisticated than any contemporary civilization. One tablet, however, stood out. It depicted a star-filled sky, but with a strange, ominous symbol above it. A comet, perhaps, or a celestial event. Below, the figures of the civilization, once vibrant and active, were shown dwindling, fading, their cities crumbling. It was a stark, horrifying narrative of their demise. The genetic data, combined with this new archaeological evidence, painted a terrifying picture. A highly advanced civilization, thriving for millennia, suddenly wiped out by an unforeseen, catastrophic event. A celestial impact? A sudden, devastating climate shift? The tablets didn't give a definitive answer to the how, but the what was clear. An entire civilization, at the peak of its power, had been extinguished, leaving barely a trace. The implications are monumental. If a civilization of this magnitude could simply vanish, leaving only whispers in our DNA and overgrown ruins, what else have we overlooked? What other secrets are buried beneath our feet, waiting for the right key to unlock them? Sebastian and Amelia's discovery isn't just about rewriting history. It's a chilling reminder of our own fragility, a stark warning from a forgotten past. The truth, as it turns out, is not only stranger than we thought, but perhaps far more terrifying. This discovery challenges us to look deeper, to question everything, and to acknowledge that the pages of human history are still being written, with vast, terrifying chapters yet to be revealed. And it all began with a microscopic anomaly, a single strand of DNA that held the secret to an empire lost to time, a secret that will now chill you to the bone.